Live from the Dream Hotel in Hollywood, California, this is Lips LA on Dash Radio.
Hey guys, what's up? We're here with Sunflower Bean, Julia, and the rest of the band. Say hi, everyone.
How's it going?
How's it going, guys? So for all you guys who don't know, one of the hardest working bands in NYC, an amazing band who's actually out on tour now. You're doing a few dates now with Interpol, The Kills, and let's not forget, I kind of read this thing, which I love about you guys, which said that music suggestive psychedelia have merged after punk and the police rather than before. Mm-hmm. So we have so many influences, so much to get into. The band's called Sunflower Bean, out on tour, second record out. We have a lot to get into. Julie coming, also friend, client of Lips LA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy to have all you guys here and to really get into it today. So take us back to the beginning. The band was formed 5 years ago, and I sort of see you guys as sort of almost like a quintessential New York band. But I know you're, and I also read that there was like Long Island. Did somebody live in Long Island? Because I'm from Long Island.
Yeah, me and Nick grew up in Long Island.
Cool. So Long Island, Strong Island in the house,
Strong
which
Island.
I love. I'm from what part of Long Island?
Like Glen Head.
Glen Head. Oh, I
Yeah,
read that.
yeah.
I did read that. Do you know where Woodmere, Cedarhurst, Hewlett, 5 Towns is?
Yeah.
That's where I'm from.
Nice.
Us Long Island guys have to stick together.
Oh, yeah.
There's not that many Long Island guys in rock and roll, so you have
Well,
to stick
we
together.
got some seminal bands though.
The Velvet
We got the
Underground.
VU.
Is the Velvet Underground from Long Island?
Every
Yeah.
member besides John Cale.
Lou Reed is from Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Freeport. And
Man, I didn't know that. I have to brush up on my rock and
Actually,
roll trivia.
not Steve Shelley. Lee Ronaldo is from Glen Cove, which is where my mom grew up.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, well, something I did not know: the Velvet Underground is officially from Long Island.
And do you know that band, the Lemon Twigs?
No.
You'd like them. They're cool. They're on 4AD.
Okay.
They're our friends. They're from Hicksville.
They
Oh,
toured
cool.
in there. So I feel like there's something. I mean,
Something in the water.
I'm biased because I play with you guys from Long Island, but I think there's something musically important.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you something which you guys may not know because I didn't know this up until a couple years ago. But the guy who started Lollapalooza and Jane's Addiction, Perry Farrell, is from Long Island. He's from my hometown, which a lot of people don't know because Jane's Addiction is so edgy and indie, and people are like, Perry Farrell's from Long Island. But yes, shout out to Perry, and you're from Woodmere. The secret is out.
It honestly makes sense now that you say it.
It makes sense. So, all right, guys, 5 years ago, this band was formed. You're on your second record, and there's so much to get into. Julie, obviously, you started modeling like years ago, too, and I think it's so cool how you seem to merge these because you have the credibility. You guys have major credibility in music, and you started as a model. I think it's a pretty interesting story for girls. There's so many girls that also aspire to do music, and you've taken it super seriously and done incredibly well as a band, and I have so much respect for that because at the end of the day, like, it's one thing when you're juggling two things like that, but you've managed to kind of ride them both in a way and, do them both in a really big and great way. So talk a little bit about how you guys met, your journey, and also how you managed to juggle these worlds and also maintain that credibility in both, which is always sometimes a little bit tricky to do. So
Totally. So I joined my first band in New York City when I was 13, actually.
Wow.
So that kind of got me, I think, a little bit acquainted with almost like I remember when we got like our first band spread in like Nylon, when Nylon was like really still pumping.
it's coming back.
And it's coming back now, but it was like stuff like that it was an acoustic psychedelic Syd Barrett inspired girl group. And the boys, which they can talk about, were like part of a little bit of a different scene, and we had different like kind of things going on. And it was kind of, the way I describe it is like, the weird kids at school.
Yeah,
they kind of go to their weird table. We were like always the youngest in the New York scene.
And I love that you have like glam rock references, how you grew up. But I also read that you had seen like a glam rock VHS. Does anybody remember VHS tapes? I do. But so Gary Glitter, obviously Joan Jett, Alice Cooper, T-Rex, all that kind of stuff that I love too. So that's so cool because obviously it's a different generation.
Yeah.
But, shout out to the VHS tapes for giving you that inspiration when you were younger, right?
Well, my parents like to act like they didn't
Like push me
to do this. They're like, we would have been happy with Julia being whatever. But I'm like, you guys were like force feeding me Gary Glitter all day. It's like, was I supposed to come out normal? Like, I'm insane.
Yeah.
But no, but it was,
So were those the artists that you were into growing up?
It was more so I'd say my first ever memory is wanting to be in the Beatles too.
Wow, that's so cool. Paul McCartney just seems like such a good dude. Every interview I see from him, he's like he has nothing to prove. He's just a nice guy, right? Maybe the nice guy. But so the Beatles, T-Rex, Alice Cooper, Joan Jett, all this stuff, right? And at some point you started picking up the bass and you just were like, this is going to be my instrument. Because the bass, let's face it, it's not that easy to find amazing bass players. We met because we did like a 3-week tour with Lana and Courtney years ago. I was like, well, who are all the female bass players?
But you know what? You and I met before that.
Oh.
This is like my secret Scott Lips story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We're getting the Dash Radio realness right now.
I love that.
You and I met right when, I feel like my modeling career was beginning, and I came into one with a different mother agent.
Oh.
And you and I talked, and we talked for
I kind of remember that.
Remember that? Hour or two.
Yeah.
We talked about music, talked about everything, and it didn't end up working out because I think I was just really. It's like that embryonic phase where it's hard.
It's all timing in life too.
Yeah,
right?
and then we met again for the Courtney thing, and I was like, I don't think you remember.
I did remember, but truth be told, I don't have the greatest memory. But you're very memorable. But now that you said it, I do remember it.
That's my. I'm like, Scott, we've met before.
So you did all this at some point. 80 Slimane. I always pronounce his name a little bit incorrectly, but 80 Slimane picked you to be the face of YSL.
Yeah.
And you did I think 3 campaigns, and you did a bunch of his shows, and you were almost exclusive with him for a while. So and that was definitely one of your biggest breaks in the fashion world. Now you've gone on to do British Vogue, H&M, all these different things. So you did a shoot with Madonna for German Vogue, which I want to hear all about. So there's so much to talk about. So I do want to get to some of your songs because there's so much to play, and you guys are playing soon, and I want to, talk about the fact that you have this new record. So I think I want to jump to my favorite song, maybe my favorite song that you guys did. I don't know. And I love the video. So let's chat. Let's jump to, actually, do you have a favorite song on the record?
Well, I think the one you're talking about is maybe I Was a Fool, or is it 22?
No, it's I Was a Fool.
Okay.
I want to play 22 too, but I Was a Fool is my favorite song you guys did. But do you have a favorite song on the new record?
I like Human 4. That's my current favorite, but I don't know. That was not the radio single.
Well, I always describe I Was a Fool as a bit Fleetwood Mac-ish and one of my favorite bands. So I want to jump to I Was a Fool. I want to come back and talk about you guys doing this tour, this new record, and the story behind 22, which is also a great song. So hold that thought. Let's jump to I Was a Fool. You're listening to Sunflower Bean on Dash Radio, Lips LA Radio.
You're listening to Lips LA with Scott Lips.
We just listened to I Was a Fool, Sunflower Bean, an amazing song. So one of my favorite songs on the new record, and also 22. Will you guys sort of jump in and tell me the stories behind both those songs? Because I really love them both.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both really different songs. I Was a Fool, we all wrote together in the practice space, and we were just down there literally from scratch, just noodling around, and it sort of just came out. And sometimes those songs are the most exciting ones because there's no pre-planning or expectation. It's just a pure energy or vibe that you can pick up and sort of just run with. So the song was basically written in 15 minutes.
And I love that you guys are actually getting in a practice room and writing songs. Some bands don't do that these days.
It's kind of old-fashioned, yeah.
It's in Long Island. That's where we.
I love that. I asked one band if they do that, and they're like, "We don't jam ever. We never jam." I'm like, "Okay, well, it used to be people would get in a room and write songs." So that song came about that way, and also 22. Were both those songs created in that sense, or no?
22 is different. I was I had the guitar plugged into the amp in my living room for a bunch of days, and I was playing with different capo placements, and I was walking by it and changing it and then walking away, then coming back, and it was like that for a few days. I was working with these chords, and then it's that same thing, right? Where you can set it up, but I feel like one of the most important things about being an artist of any kind probably is understanding how to capture that feeling of inspiration, and not like it's like when you're falling asleep and you start having all those amazing ideas and you're like, do I write it down?
Well, what was the inspiration? Because some bands like to explain their lyrics, and some artists are like, I'm just gonna leave it to be mysterious because I don't feel like explaining what that is. So was there? Because 22 could be symbolic of obviously a time period you're going through, an adolescence going to adulthood. So was there sort of a story behind lyrically where that song is at?
Well, the record in general, I feel like, is showing a lot of different sides of being 22, which is, something we were all experiencing together. I'm still 22. The boys are now 23.
Wow, that's such a good age. I wish I was 22. How good an age is that? Like so good, no?
Well, what we're thinking about is like, you're coming into your adulthood. You obviously know some things about the world, but it's hard to really know where you stand. It's like it's almost like 18 by Alice Cooper. It's like,
Then you get older, you have taxes, shit you don't want to deal with.
Yeah, you know more than you ever have, but you also are kind of, there becomes even more unknowns, like looking forward, kind of
really defining like what your life means and what you want. And the song 22, I think, was a certain shade of I wouldn't say sarcastic and I wouldn't say tongue-in-cheek, but I mean, you'd know this more than anyone, being in music and fashion, and living in these big cities. It's just the obsession with youth, with vanity, with these things is so exhausting. And it's hard because fashion is so creative and beautiful. And then, and at the same time, especially as a woman, you're wondering what your worth is after late teenagerhood or early 20s.
Well, the good thing is if you're doing this well at 22, then I feel like there's like a 10th album coming up when you have your whole life ahead of you, which is great. Because most bands, sometimes it takes a while. I know you've been together 5 years, but I feel like in the last couple of years you've definitely have experienced success. You were starting to get great reviews early on.
Yeah,
I remember NME, and I think All Songs Considered, right? NPR. I think. Was it I Was a Fool? NPR picked to be one of the songs to pick to click kind of thing in November?
That was the first single off the record.
Yeah, and so, that's actually not that common either, right? After 2 years, let's say, to have a lot of critical success, because sometimes it can take years and years. So it is pretty cool how you guys, but I think when something's great these days, people kind of find it online. Like, how do you guys discover new music? Is it through SoundCloud? Is it Spotify, iTunes? How do you discover new music?
Besides people recommending stuff, it's usually the related YouTube videos.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, this will be on YouTube, so that's great. And you guys are fans of Tame Impala. I think you wrote a song about Tame Impala, right?
Oh, yeah.
We did.
Yeah, that's cool, because I think they wrote a song about Zeppelin or something, right? So
that's the story.
That's cool. So, it's like you have old references, new references. Who else are you guys fans of? Is there anybody that you really want to tour with? Because you guys have toured with some great bands already. The Pixies. How cool was that?
It's been a bit of an insane year for us. The touring matchups have been really, really special.
Yeah, so tell me what that, because that must have been like, they're legendary, right? Frank Black, and so how was that tour?
It was pretty great.
Did you hang out with them?
Not too much.
No. Sometimes you don't see the bands you tour with.
There were a lot of times where I'd be walking in the hallway and Frank Black would be walking like.
Did he say hi at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We would see them every day. We'd say hi, but as far as like after the show, like going out or stuff like that,
get pizza
we didn't do that kind of stuff. But we were in the same building saying hi and like making small talk every day. So that was pretty cool.
At least you could say you toured with the Pixies, which is amazing.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah.
So let's jump to 22. I want to come back and talk about Julia and Madonna. So stay tuned for the Julia Madonna story. 1 second.
Yo, what's going on? It's Youngwood, and you're listening to Scott Lips on Lips LA.
And we're with Sunflower Bean and the band. What's up, guys? We just listened to 22. Great song.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. So before the break, I was mentioning that no interview would be complete without talking about your Vogue Germany Madonna story, Julia. So what was it like to work with the Queen of Pop?
That's really, I don't think I've ever like told this story anywhere. So that's good. This is an
exclusive.
This is a Dash
Soundbite.
Lips LA exclusive.
We love that.
I don't even know if I should be, I signed something.
Oh, well, the thing came out like a while ago. We can talk about it.
We were in Long Island getting ready for like a day of like practice.
With Madonna?
Yeah, with Madonna.
She was at my mom's house.
We were writing the record.
Yeah.
So we were like, I was standing out there getting it done. And my agency called me and they're like, okay, we have it's Vogue Germany. It's a cover. And I'm like, cover. And it's a big artist. We can't say anything about it, but we just need to know if you can do it today. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it today.
It's the Velvet Underground.
And it's like, it wasn't until I was on my way there that they're like, it's Madonna. And I was like, oh my God. And
like, how do you prep for that?
And it's the winter
Yeah.
in New York, right? So baby girls' legs are also in full bloom.
Right,
I'm
right.
talking if the wind was blowing, I could feel my leg hairs, flying.
Yeah.
So I'm in, and they're like, you need to go straight to the shoot. I'm like, you guys don't understand. It's not right.
Right.
And I'm shaving with 2 razors.
Oh my God, this sounds so crazy.
I'm like 6 feet tall. I got these shins, and I'm like
in
using
the
2
car on the way over there?
in my house. They're
In
like,
your
come
house.
straight to the shoot. I'm like, gotta go home real quick and
Get
use a
ready.
lawnmower on my legs before meeting Madonna.
Right.
And I get there, and I also had I had really long roots. How could they called me that day?
Yeah.
I couldn't prepare, and they're there, and like we pulled all my hair back, and I remember Madonna was just really amazing. She let me wear her hats.
Yeah.
She
Did you guys bond?
She
Did you-
smelled like how
Like peaches?
ultra celebrities smell. It's
Yeah.
like they have
What does that smell?
delicious.
Delicious.
It's like they have access to different
Things.
Just different scents.
perfumes
Yeah.
that the normal people.
Like very
just-
expensive perfumes, like
Yes.
imported
Only
from
time
China.
I've
or
met
something.
like insanely famous people. I'm like, how do you
smell like that.
smell like it's
Yeah.
just wild. And her eyes are incredible. Her arms are incredible.
Wow.
So
what
and-
was the day like? Were you guys like chilling out, like Instagramming together?
No,
was
no,
there an
no.
Instagram
Very,
of that? I
very-
don't feel like there was an Instagram of that.
No, what do you mean was there Instagram?
I don't know. I
It was
don't know.
like
Were
2
you
years
able
ago. It was
to?
like a year ago. 2 years ago.
No, I'm
But-
saying, were you able to take a picture
No,
with her? I
no,
don't remember if
very,
you did. Okay.
no. And
Okay.
it was it was really cool. And then we got to the last shot, and I was wearing like a shirt with suspenders, and they were like, let's get that shirt off. And I was like, I'm with Madonna. I'm not gonna not take my shirt off because the suspenders were covering my nipples.
Right.
But it's like when Madonna, you're just not.
When Madonna
You're
says
not
whatever,
thinking,
you just do whatever.
You're
yeah.
like, sure. They're like, the nipples munching. You're like, sure. And we were doing this shot, and the shot was like kind of like old saloon, and I thought it was like prop whiskey because we had shots, but it was real whiskey, and Madonna was pouring it.
Wow. Was she drinking it?
No, she's pouring it for everyone in the shot, and it's a film, so we have to keep filming. And I'm wearing the suspenders. I'm like, I'm with Madonna. I'm wearing the suspenders.
It was
They're
surreal.
pouring shots,
Yeah.
and it's like take the shots in the video. I'm like, if Madonna pours you a shot, you have to take a shot. What am I gonna do? Not take the shot?
So you took the shot.
So I took like 5 shots shooting this thing. There's a cat. There's a live animal.
The whole thing is so surreal.
I'm getting drunk. I don't have a shirt on.
Wow.
That's
And there's a video of that somewhere.
If anyone wants to know what fashion is like,
That's what
don't
it's like.
expect to wear a shirt. Don't expect to not get drunk.
And you might have drinks with Madonna.
You might have drinks with Madonna.
Yeah.
All of age, of course. Don't
That's
drink it-
amazing.
I'm not promoting. Drink responsibly and don't drink underage. Don't be dumb.
So that's incredible. So that's like one of your amazing
That's-
fashion stories.
That was an amazing,
That was one of your fashion career highlights. What's the
Yeah.
band's career highlight? Because I'd love
Oh,
to hear it.
geez.
You guys have a career, because I know you guys toured in Japan, which I'm obsessed with. I can't wait to go back to Tokyo. Do you have a career highlight? Was Tokyo a career highlight? Because I'm like obsessed with Tokyo.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely
just,
one of them.
Just getting out there because we played 2 like small club shows in China as well, which
Cool.
was I feel like that was
What was
really,
that like?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was just like sold out like 300 like Chinese teenagers
Very cool.
in Shanghai. Yeah,
And
which you
it's-
never think would be possible.
They don't
for
use
us,
Instagram there, so I couldn't go there. I don't think.
Yeah. No, they have like all their
Smart.
own like proprietary like social
Yeah,
media.
Weibo or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Weibo.
Yeah.
It's really cool, especially when, it's just like something to remember and not a lot of bands get to do. And even like what a show is going to be like in Indiana,
Definitely.
or we do at this point, but you just have no idea what rock fans in like Shanghai are really.
So they were really
looking for.
into it.
They're really into it, and there's just I think a different like exchange of energies when you both know like how long it took to get there.
Well,
so it's just
there's no way we could talk about career highlights without talking about the fact that tomorrow night you guys are on stage. I don't know, whenever you guys listen to this, it may not be tomorrow night, but technically tomorrow night you're playing the Hollywood Bowl with Interpol and the Kills. That's got to be an amazing feeling, and you've got to be so high on that thought, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a little hard. It's we've been a band for a few years now, and everything has been like
steps.
everything has been steps,
Yeah.
which I think is actually a really cool way to do it, because it's not like you're hyped up on some sort of trend and that can be pulled under you. It's like everyone that comes to our shows wants to be there. Everyone that's a fan has their own way of coming to it. So it feels like a really amazing highlight, and it also feels like it's just a really, we're just really grateful, and it's a really great like step.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
like
Yeah.
in the realm of steps that we would really love to happen. But what else can you really, wish for besides playing with, other,
Amazing bands.
legends?
Yeah, yeah.
It's really something.
Well, I just I know that you're into Joan Jett. I just watched an amazing documentary about her that just came out, and
Yeah.
I want to play Bad Reputation because I know that's one of your inspirations musically. And we'll come back and we'll talk about Anger Can Be Power, the fact that you want to get young people out to vote and all that stuff. And you are listening to Sunflower Bean on Lips LA Radio, Dash Radio, live from the Dream Hotel. We'll be back in just a minute. And you're listening to Bad Reputation, Joan Jett.
What up, it's Black Bear, and you're listening to Scott Lips on Lips LA.
We're back, and you were just listening to Joan Jett, Bad Reputation. Great documentary. Go out and catch it now. I just saw it. Very cool. Julie, I'm sure you're going to watch that documentary.
Yeah.
So much to talk about, but I do want to talk about some of your political stuff. Just touch upon it. Anger can be power.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're always inspiring young people to get out there and vote, which is really awesome and cool and inspirational. So just talk a little bit about that, because I think there's not that many like younger bands that are doing that kind of stuff. And obviously, I love what it stands for. So let's talk about it for a second.
Totally. Well, I think, and the boys can touch on this too. I think one of the things that started it was the writing of our record.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like the fact that we have one song on the record that's extremely political. And people ask us now if it's like a protest record, just because there's one song that is extremely direct about it. And I do think that it affects all the songs in its own way. But I think one thing that makes sense to our ethics and what I really wanted to do with Anger Can Be Power is to make political involvement and engagement with activism more normalized and more something that is able to fit into people's lives, and especially people who are kind of beginning on that path. Because as we kind of experience and know it, going to protests, going to these meetings is definitely a way to express yourself as a citizen, but there could also be other ways that you could integrate into that are closer to your interests,
Right.
and that might help make it more normal for you. So like for me, when I started it, I was thinking about how one of the things that I really know about in my life at this point is live events and inviting people to them.
Concerts,
Like,
obviously.
just being like, hey, come to my band's show.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create a live experience where people could come together, meet and talk and kind of share how they feel about everything that's going on and mix that in with really interesting conversations. So
And getting people out to vote, because I know you're really, I see a lot of the social media stuff you're doing for it, and I think it probably inspires a lot of people, the younger people, to do that. So that's cool.
and that's something this group Headcount, which is really amazing, that you should
Yeah, they've actually
know
been
about.
at a lot of the Interpol shows.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
They come to.
Who are
they
they?
come
What are they?
to-
I don't know that
They
much
go
about
to
them.
shows like
Oh.
festivals or rock shows or anything and register people to vote there. So it's like a really direct tie between music and
yeah, that's great.
voting.
That's cool.
So it's a thing, and Nick talks about this sometimes too, where it's hard to know if you have a responsibility as an artist or with any kind of platform, how to use it. And I think it's different for each person.
Definitely.
But I think
Well, get out there and vote and listen to Julie and Sunflower Bean. That's cool. I mean, one thing I want to touch upon before we go, because I think you guys have such great inspirations culturally, and I think you guys touch upon a lot of stuff. And of course, we're going to put a drummer question there, drummer to drummer, right? So who do you guys listen to? What do you guys watch? Where do you guys like to eat, hang out? All those things to me are pretty interesting, right? It's, for me, cultural relevance is always very important. So is there a favorite place that you guys like to hang out in LA to eat? That's always important to me. I think I love to eat.
I feel like the last couple of times we've been here, we've really just been cooking.
Oh,
while we're here.
Are you guys like vegans or something?
No,
definitely not.
Okay. But when you're on tour for so long, and usually we eat out a lot, you know. So in LA, we get like a place. We have like a kitchen, and we try to cook.
Oh, okay.
And it's
so you don't have it. There's not like a favorite Thai restaurant or a favorite. I love Jones. Have you guys ever been there?
No.
Actually, the last Interpol video was filmed at Jones, so you guys should go there. All the names of the drinks on the menu are like famous. Like there's a John Bonham drink and a Keith Moon drink, and it's a very cool place.
Do you know what place you can usually find us at is like the worst but most delicious like Mexican place?
Oh, that's cool.
You know, out here.
Which one is that?
Where the ones you just drive by and you're like, I'm starving.
Paquito Mas.
And they got all the red salsas and all the green salsas and the tortillas that are like translucent.
I like that.
When you're on tour, you sort of like start like really like understanding like the art of finding the low key spot.
You know, it's so funny because people think that touring is glamorous, and then you realize that most people actually like are living out of a 7-Eleven, eating their meals on the road, and it's not nearly what people think it is. Like, talk about that for 1 second. How do you guys like stay fit on the road? Are you like really conscious of what you eat, or is it like you run into the quick stop and just get whatever you can? Are you?
I can only speak for myself, but I'm pretty just relaxed about it. I just do whatever I want. And, you know, as long as you don't do things in excess, you can kind of stay clear.
I think it's a balance of trying to eat healthy when you can, but also not torturing yourself.
Yeah, I found it like impossible to eat healthy on the road. I was doing some weird diet when I was on the road, and I can barely do it. It was like I would run into every Trader Joe's and stock up on weird snacks.
Hard. Well, you know, there's extremes, and if you just, you know, everyone's different, but
so all right. Well, so we have to ask a drummer question from drummer to drummer. The most obvious drummer question. I do actually play the drums.
For Courtney Love.
Yeah, I mean, you can't talk about drumming, I feel like, without touching base on Bonham and people like that. But who was your inspiration? Was it Mitch Mitchell? I feel like when I saw you play, you have a bit of a 70s thing going on drummer-wise.
I just listened to some Jimi Hendrix the other day for the first time in a long time, and it's amazing how well Mitch Mitchell's drumming just stands up. It just sounds so, like, just so modern.
So was Mitch Mitchell an inspiration?
He was
to you?
A big one for me.
Cool.
Keith Moon. Live at Leeds is like one of my favorite records of all time.
Both great. Yeah. And guitar player wise, like, do you have like, was it Clapton? I don't know who you listened to.
Pretty much, you know, all the greatest hits that people get into when they first start playing
Keith
guitar.
Richards, Jimmy Page.
Yeah, Page, Johnny Marr. But then like a lot of my guitar playing was really influenced by Captured Tracks, which was a record label in Brooklyn that put out a lot of really great local bands back in like the early 2010s. And
I had like 2 Morrissey sightings in the last 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, it's very cool.
I think but you know,
he's following me, I think.
There used to be this really amazing venue in Bushwick called Big Snow Buffalo Lodge. And I actually saw Sunflower Bean play twice before I joined. And the first time I saw them, Nick got on, he hates when I tell this story, got on the floor and was playing Wild Thing.
Wow.
Yeah, me and Jake used to cover Wild Thing as a 2-piece.
Oh, so cool.
And
I think that Jimi Hendrix is probably the greatest guitarist to ever live by a long shot.
It was good listening to him.
And
the
he
other
looked
day,
so cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's half the battle, is making it look cool.
I think that image, sometimes image these days is like underrated a little bit. Because I definitely grew up at a time when you looked at like Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, they were like, those guys are like rock gods, right?
But the reason why it looks cool is because of how good they are and the amount of effort that they put in while looking like it's just, you know, completely effortless. So.
Well, all the New York bands that have been on recently, obviously Albert Hammond, we just had on the show, and Paul Banks. I've always talked about the intersection of fashion and music in the last 20 years out of New York, especially because I feel like Interpol had, the suit thing they did, and the Strokes were one of the first bands to wear the skinny ties and the suits. And so I think image plays a really big part of a lot of bands from the East Coast, especially. How do you guys feel about that? You have a great image. So obviously image is a conscious thing in music for you. Fashion, image, like I know it's not manufactured, it's who you are, but do you feel like that's like a big part of your vibe for the band?
Well, I think when you think about what a band is, or what even what you can offer with your music, it's actually an entire universe that you're creating through yourself, which is really intense. But with your image, I think of it as you have a lot of opportunity to affect people and connect with people because it's different than I'm not wearing what I woke up in this morning because I'm showing who I am. And I think when you show who you are, you can
you always have great style.
Inspire people to be who they are.
I've never seen you without great style. I'm sorry.
Because I know I'm meeting you. I want to
I
impress
don't know.
you.
I don't never see you in like sweatpants. Do you wear sweatpants? I don't think you do.
I think if I wore sweatpants outside, I would be vaguely suicidal, and I am every single time I do it.
You know that track pants in LA are like a big thing. I just put them on once. I was like, I'm not sure if these are me. But
I remember at the Lips LA holiday party, I was out here in LA for it, and all the other girls around her was like, "Oh my god!"
Everybody was wearing track pants.
No, they're just gorgeous in a really different than New York way. Where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, her face is like a disco ball. It's reflecting, just like it's gonna get burned."
That's LA. It's a whole different thing out here.
I'm not against it. I just don't know. It would take me some
readjusting,
rethinking.
Yeah.
Couple years.
So 2019, guys, we have the show tomorrow night, depending on when you're listening to this, and then 2019. What's on tap for Sunflower Bean?
There's some things coming.
Is anything you could hint to? That we need like exclusive, juicy bits.
I know. Well, you already have the Madonna story. We have Madonna, which I'm vaguely wondering if I'm going to get sued for.
No, I don't think so.
We will all deal with that when the time comes.
We didn't say anything. We just talked about that you guys shot together.
Incredible.
She's great.
Which everyone knows. I'm just beating the bush.
Yeah.
Beating the horse. What were we talking?
2019. Yeah.
2019.
You guys, I know there's stuff that you guys can tell. If Julie's not going to tell me, you guys can certainly tell me what's coming up for 2019.
I honestly don't know. I don't know what's happening until the day it happens. I don't look at our schedule, so I can't tell you.
I'm probably more touring.
Well, okay. Well, no. You gotta be
secretive.
Drop. We can't
stop.
If we tell everything.
All right. Well, here's my last question, which is a great question. So 2019, if there's one band in the world you could tour with that you'd want to tour with, because you've toured with some pretty great bands already, who is that band?
The Strokes.
The Strokes.
Okay. Well, I have some information that I can't reveal, but all I'll say is hopefully that'll happen one day. So, that would be cool. That's awesome. So, hey guys, thanks so much for coming on. You guys should definitely check out the new record, Sunflower Bean. Check them out live. Go vote. Buy everything Sunflower Bean related. What kind of merch you guys got? Anything cool?
We got tote bags.
We got
pins.
tote bags.
Oh, you know what? I got something for you. This is the 2019 exclusive.
Yeah.
We're gonna actually have fanny packs next year.
That is.
So there we go. There's
where can we find all this stuff?
By the time we can manufacture them, absolutely no one will be wearing them.
They'll
be back on the fanny.
I told G-Eazy that he brought back the toothpick into modern day culture because he uses the toothpick a lot. So you guys can bring back the fanny packs. That would be very cool.
Is everyone wears them now? It's all the crossbody.
I don't know. I don't have.
These guys both have them.
You do?
I'm rejecting the trend.
Well, growing up, you don't have a purse.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you get a fanny pack, you're like, purses are the best thing ever.
Well, next time you guys see me, I'll be wearing a fanny pack. Shout out to DJ Midas Touch for producing this episode. Thank you, Kendrick. And guys, where can they follow you? At Sunflower Bean.
We got Instagram. We got YouTube.
Yeah, but let's start at Sunflower Bean. At Joy Cummings.
We got everything.
Everything.
We're on all the. We're modern girls and boys.
Follow them on Tumblr and MySpace. Sunflower Bean. Check it out, guys. Thanks for coming, and we look forward to catching you tomorrow night, depending on when you listen to this.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
This is Lips LA on Dash Radio.